From time to time, I like to feature creative startups in the Toronto art and design industry. Today, we'll be meeting Tammy Yu from Partial.Gallery, an online platform for sourcing local and regional art.
Hi, welcome back to my real estate channel. My name is Anne Locke. I'm a Toronto realtor who focuses on buying and selling design-focused homes. Hi Tammy, thank you for spending time with us today. We're happy to have you here, and we do have lots of questions for you regarding art sales and rental. So in the industry, real estate, interior design, and home staging, we're familiar with art rental and sales services, and it's actually been a business model that's been around for a long time with traditional gallery institutions. You have kind of taken it to a different level to have an actual digital platform where people can source original art and also make it accessible to the ordinary people. Because I know that I have friends who said, well, you kind of have to be in a cult, to actually walk into a gallery to be able to look at art. So do you want to tell us a little bit about Partial?
I think when I thought of Partial, I was coming exactly from that same angle. Yeah. Maybe not thinking that I as a younger person, I'm in my 30s, living in Toronto, and I could see a lot of my friends who were, also in the same kind of position as me, where we're like, okay, we're starting to care more about certain things, and we were going to art gallery openings or going to the AGO and things like that, but it always seemed like it was kind of two separate worlds.
Right.
You never go into an art gallery and think, could I put that in my house?
Yeah,
and
are you gonna buy? It's like two separate things.
Exactly, yeah. And then I guess as I was getting older and I saw that friends of mine were doing more long-term rentals in their home, or in terms of committing to a more permanent space to live, and investing in furniture, or starting to buy homes and things. They kind of had everything covered in terms of furniture and
furniture is always first. Art may not even be on the list.
Exactly. But then when it gets to art, then they're like, okay, what do I do now? Because the options there aren't too many options out there. There are some great options. And definitely being able to go to galleries is fantastic, and if you're able to develop a relationship with a curator or something, you can invest in art, and I'm all for investing in art. But I think for a lot of people, maybe they're not ready to do that yet. So I was like, okay. On the other hand, I also have friends who are artists. Some are doing quite well for themselves, and some are maybe also working full-time jobs and doing art on the side now. And I can see that they just have a bank of art sitting in their studio. And I'm like, okay. At the end of the day, as I was doing research about it before I decided to fully commit myself to doing Partial, at the end of the day, for artists, the most important thing for them is to share their art with people. Income is great, and that's what we're trying to do, is to drive some of that income towards them. But at the end of the day, they really just want to move that art out of their space to someone's home or office where people can appreciate it, right? And then from, I guess, a renter or a consumer point of view, when I was sort of doing more research, overwhelmingly, which I was surprised about, was that people were saying the most important thing to them about having art in their space is because it's a form of self-expression, which I thought was really nice.
I think I agree with that, because what you have on the wall says a lot about yourself.
Oh, totally.
And also about the artist who created it. And your dynamic with the artist. So it's not sourcing something from a stock photo site that you just print and fill up the wall with some color.
Oh, for sure. I came from a fashion background, and typically now that's how we encourage people to dress as well. Have a couple pieces that really mean a lot to you. And you can mix it with your secondhand finds and your maybe your more mass-produced pieces. But then there's no reason why you can't have something of greater value or sentimental value even in your wardrobe also. So I think the same applies to just people's home stuff as well. So
especially when the art pieces, the starting price usually is around $3,000 and upward. your business model is making it accessible by renting by month, as well as rent to own, right? Yeah. So maybe you can walk us through the process of, if I'm a homeowner that comes to you, what are the steps? Like I go to your website.
So you can go to the website, and then we're constantly growing the catalog. So right now we have 275 pieces online. And they're all Toronto artists, which has sort of been the focus. Is like
like the emerging artists.
Do you know there's actually a mix though? There's emerging artists. And so for them, the value of the work is anywhere between say like $400 to $2,000. And then there's more established artists where it is a bit more than that, into your like 3,000, 4,000 range. But what you can do, all of the pieces there are part of like a rental model. So of course you could buy it outright if you like. You want to like shop from home and not even bother leaving your house. You can do that. But then the rental model is usually based on a percentage of the value of the work. So it's all kind of relative. So it's usually roughly 5% of the value. So you will see. So so the artist price the work. And then you set the rental fee for it.
I recommend a rental fee.
So this is the whole thing. I'm trying to give more like autonomy to the artist. So we've kind of done our research and like seen what the market will kind of take. So we recommend about 5% of the value. So that works out pretty well, because in the end, usually pretty much all of the work on the site is between say as low as $28 a month to maybe $150 a month. So what we have for, we have sort of like different models for different uses. So for residential, you have the choice between 3, 6, or 9 months. And then after that rental period, you can choose to renew for 3 months, return it, and I mean, some people are like, oh, why would I want to return it? But sometimes you want to maybe switch it up for something else. Or you've decided, hey, I'm redecorating and this doesn't suit me anymore. Or whatever. So you have the option of, renewing, returning, or paying the difference and owning it. So it's not as though you're paying extra to rent it and to buy it after. It kind of almost becomes like a leasing model. If you like. So it's pretty flexible depending on what people want. And I think the good thing is you don't have to decide up front, right? Like you can say, okay, I'm going to rent it for 3 months. I'm going to rent it for 9 months.
See if you like it, instead of committing to a few $1,000s up front.
For sure. And then at the end you can decide, well, call you up or send you an email, and you can say like, I'm not sure yet, maybe I'll just renew for another 3 months. Or I'm gonna like return it and maybe I'll want to choose something else. Or I'm ready to just pay the difference and own it because I love it or something. So it makes it easy for, I think, people who don't want to commit to something right away, or they just want to like have something on the wall for now while they're deciding. But it's also good for people who are trying to like enter the art collecting world in an easy way, because you could quite easily like rent a couple pieces at a time. Given like the price points of things.
Start collecting.
And then again, like because everyone is in the Toronto area, like it creates that kind of story where you, rather than just saying like, oh, here's this print from insert big box name here. You can say like, oh yeah, this is like by Megan Monahan. And she, like lives in West Toronto. And blah blah blah. Oh and this piece is from this guy who's like a full-time lawyer, but does this on the side. So it's nice to
community.
Exactly. And then of course for the artists, they're super stoked to have their stuff out there with people and seeing like, oh, this type of person relates to my work. Or this person is so excited about it. So it's kind of nice.
Well, let's take a look at some of the pieces you have here.
Sure.
Let's see. So there's a saying that it takes a great curator to create a great gallery. So say oh, this is beautiful. It's very delicate.
So this is a piece by Anahita Azrahimi, and she's actually part of a there's a collective of artists called Akin Collective, and they're really great. So they actually have a bunch of buildings around the Toronto area, and we have a lot of similarities in the sense where they're trying to find ways to encourage artists and support artists in their process.
Yeah.
So they provide accessible studio space for artists, and they also give them like workshops about how to market yourself or how to do your taxes and things like that.
Okay.
Where maybe conventionally artists wouldn't have access to that kind of information.
Yeah.
So we connected with them, and they have a couple of artists in our catalog as well. So Anahita is one of them, and she's fantastic. But basically what she does is these are collage mixed media pieces.
Yeah.
And she has an interest in fashion and kind of deconstructing fashion. So the main part of it there is a cutout from Vogue magazine.
Yeah.
And then she kind of morphs the textile to look in like a piece of minimalist art.
Yeah.
Put a face behind them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also heard that it's most artists, it's hard for them to curate their own work because they have so many pieces.
Oh, for
in
sure.
archive.
Oh, yeah, it's insane. Like some artist studios that I've been to, I would say some of them have like 100 works just kind of like piled up.
Yeah.
Because
and it's just sitting there.
Yeah, because they're quite prolific, and it is. A lot of it is sitting there, or or maybe sometimes the artist is like, oh, I'm not a huge fan of this. But I'm like, this is so great.
Yeah.
I don't know, who knows?
You need a different eye sometimes.
Yeah. So I think like on the website, what we try and do is, again, because we're not a conventional gallery, even though we still curate the work and sort of try and choose high quality pieces to be on there, I try and go in with an open mind, because from a consumer perspective, I've experienced this like early on, something that I feel like, oh, I like it so much, and maybe someone else who I think also has the same taste as me is
it's
like,
very
oh,
subjective.
no, it's so subjective. And then on the flip side, other pieces that I felt like didn't quite translate, and I was like, I feel like okay about it, but we'll see. And then people love it. So I think I've tried to like overall keep an open mind, be like, okay, is this a good quality, interesting piece?
Yeah.
And
or
then,
someone would want on that wall.
For sure. Yeah. And that's the other thing. It's not as though we're curating for one type of person in one type of scenario.
Yeah.
Like people, we offer models for like residential, but then also maybe for a commercial space, like an office or a lounge.
Yeah.
Or for stagings.
Yeah.
Or for TV sets and productions.
Yeah.
So, there's so many different scenarios, and the more variety there is, the better.
Yeah. So, what about the choice of frame and how it's displayed? Do you decide that, or does the artist?
No, so the artist does.
Okay.
So this is the whole thing, again, like trying to make it really in the hands of the artist.
Yeah.
All we request is that it's ready to hang, however it is.
Okay.
And I think like for the average artist, if anyone cares about their work, it's them. And if anyone cares about how they present themselves, it's them. So they will always do a great job of packaging it, making sure it's ready to hang.
Right.
It's in the frame that they think best
fits that work.
Exactly. Yeah. I think in a couple of special cases with, say, photographers, we've had for example, one artist, Peter McLennan, he does a lot of his own framing. Yeah. And he's like so great, and he's very flexible. So he's like kind of offered like, oh yeah, if people have a request, I don't mind.
Different choice. Look.
Yeah. But he's like quite an exception.
Yeah.
So that piece is actually, this is another example of a work that has been framed really well.
Right.
Because when I actually just saw the work itself online, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's nice. But then it made such a difference how the artist Sandra Brewster, she did the float mounting. Yeah. Like, again, artists, they have the eye and they care about their work, so they do a really good job of choosing what I think is like a great frame. I never would have thought of putting it in something like that.
Right.
But
and I think it's also because of the perspective that's drawn. If you don't tell me what it is, it takes me a while to actually see what that form is. Yeah. And she's really nice. She's actually in this neighborhood. Yeah. So it's kind of been interesting to see how we have so many artists just everywhere. Yeah. Just kind of giving them a platform where they can kind of come out of their studio space or their studies or what have you, and then still like share their work. Right. oversized pieces. Do you install for the client, or?
Yeah, so we have the option of, like, once someone rents something, there's the option of delivery and installation. You can even order little art cards that can be attached with alongside the artwork that talks about the artist.
Right.
Which is sometimes kind of a cool idea for maybe a commercial space.
Yeah.
You know, to show like, hey, this is a local artist, or what have you. But yeah, all of those services are available too. Because we want to make it easy for people to, because it is overwhelming, right? To kind of beyond. That's why I also say like it has to be ready to hang.
Yeah.
Because I think we've all been there where we've like purchased a print.
Yeah.
And like been in love with it, and then we're like, okay, it takes us like 3 months to go get it framed.
I know.
And
It just sits there.
Spent more on the framing than the actual piece, and then we're like, okay, great.
Has anyone ever come to you for art consultation? Like you go to their home and look at the space, and they say, help me. Like,
Oh, not yet.
Yeah.
But what we've actually done, because we're still actually a pretty new business.
Yeah.
So we're constantly trying to like add features to the website that make it appealing for people or less scary for people to commit to artwork.
Yeah.
But just yesterday we added a live chat feature. So I mean when
I
I'm in front
noticed
of
that when I was in the website.
so when I'm there, like, yeah, what we've kind of said is like, if you have any questions or you want to send us photos of your space or whatever, like, we're here to give you recommendations or answer your questions or, you know, give you insight into like, hey, this piece is actually like really bright, or like, we love this, the edge of this canvas looks like that. Yeah. So far, no one's like come specifically asking for art consultations. Yeah. But yeah, we're happy to offer help if we can. Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
I'll let my clients know.
Actually, wait, but now that you've said that, okay, last week I was at a restaurant in Riverdale. Yeah. And while we were there, I was just telling the owner about Partial. And then, just like there on the spot, he's like, okay, well, which 3 would you recommend? And then so, you know, kind of casually, but so I sort of thought of like, oh, if I were you, I might look at these 10 pieces, choose from there. And then he chose from those 10. So it's kind of like an informal curation. Like I come from a design and fashion background.
See if they like it.
Yeah, but I don't come from like a fine art background. Yeah. But I feel as though that's not necessarily like a bad thing. I think anyone has the ability to.
You have a fresh mind. From your website, is it only like, do you only curate completed works, or do you also commission the same artists in the pools for more work?
So we only work from completed works that are ready to hang. Yeah, in special cases like with photographers, we'll have the work there, but under the idea that, okay, if someone chooses this, you'll be able to get it framed within a very short time period. Okay. But pretty much everything else is already complete. And I think for me, that's what we want it to come from. Like, we don't want to put it on artists to commit themselves to creating something new if they don't want to. Like, artists are already creating work on their own all the time, and they're already sitting on a bank of great work that can be out there for someone to enjoy. So I never ask.
And creating under pressure is a different.
For sure. Yeah. Yes, because I mean, I kind of feel like the supply already exists. Yeah. I don't need to keep asking for more.
Right. It's not like the commercial galleries.
Yeah. So same thing. I really want this to just be a tool for artists to move very many works out there. Yeah. I mean, some artists that I get in touch with, I say like, do you know what? I suggest that you start with 3 to 10 pieces for your profile. And then I'll get back in touch with them like a week later. I'm like, hey, I noticed you haven't uploaded anything yet. They're like, do you know what? I have so many pieces. I'm having a really hard time choosing 10. And I'm like, oh, you can upload more if you like. So I don't think there's like, we're not lacking in access to artwork.
Yeah. It's like one of the biggest hurdles between my husband and I is deciding on a piece of art on the wall. He likes it, or I don't like it, and then we're trying to narrow down the ones that have the common,
Yeah, and I think that's another reason why like the rental model kind of works. Yeah. Like we kind of realized that I mean, beyond just the obvious thing of like, oh, it makes it more accessible and affordable.
Yeah.
That's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
But there are people who maybe they can afford to buy the piece, but the rental model is still interesting for that specific reason. Like,
Right.
maybe like, hey, we do 6 months of this piece,
Yeah.
and then 6 months of another piece.
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing, like, changing artwork
Yeah.
in a room is like the easiest way to like do a renovation.
Yes,
or do
I know.
like
Design everything around that piece.
do an update, you know, because you're just like, you know, so like, I mean, picture even this space. If we were to replace this with like an abstract
Yeah.
or a landscape,
It does change the whole
the
feel of
mood
the room.
is
Yeah.
a bit different,
Yeah.
right? So, yeah, so sometimes the rental model is good for that. Or we had someone rent over the Christmas holidays because she was hosting a bunch of people at her house for, you know, New Year's dinners
Yeah.
and Christmas dinners.
Yeah.
So like for 3 months, she was able to just like enjoy this
Right.
big piece
Yeah.
by her dining room.
Great
with
conversation
people.
piece.
Yeah, yeah. So.
Yeah. And how often do you have a call for submission from artists?
I'm trying to think. We usually, I'd say like definitely every week. There's a couple.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So there's no formal call for submission. They just come in, like they just
Mhm.
submit as they wish.
Yeah, I mean sometimes like on Instagram once in a while I'll be like,
Yeah.
I think I just did a post about it a week or two
Yeah,
ago.
yeah.
And then even just from that got 20 people who were interested.
Yeah.
But yeah, usually it's just been like word of mouth or, I mean, even at the interior design show,
Yeah.
interestingly enough, you see people who are like designers
Yeah.
or same thing like full-time doing whatever.
Yeah.
And they come through and they start chatting and they say, actually, you know, I actually do a bit of art. I'm like, oh great. Yeah, just like send me an email.
Yeah.
Just check it out and see if it works on this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then from the pool of submissions, how do you narrow down?
I guess I mean, same thing. I really want this to, even though it is online and open, and we do want as much work as possible on there, we also want, I guess, like a certain, I guess, like for visitors, we want them to feel like, okay, we're going up to a place where there are a lot of quality options,
Yeah.
as opposed to, you know, like going to like a craft site
Right.
or what have you. I mean, that stuff is all great and it's good for like a certain price point.
Yeah.
But we're talking about making it accessible for people to bring fine artwork
Yeah.
into their home.
Yeah.
Yeah, stuff that is in the, say, like $500 to $5,000
Yeah.
price range.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess naturally my taste kind of affects some of the decision making.
Right.
So it is a lot of like contemporary work,
Yeah.
but it's kind of interesting. I think everyone has like a scale of very many things that they're interested in. So we have like beautiful photographic landscapes.
Yeah.
But then there's also kind of like
Abstract.
or
Yeah.
like more bright, strong street art type style stuff. So there's quite a range. But it is, you know, if I were to like look at it, it is more like contemporary compared to traditional styles. Yeah. New Masters is kind of the more like, it's hard to describe, more like the fine art, not but as traditional as contemporary art
Yeah.
can be, you know, like
Yeah.
the more, yeah, so we kind of call that New Masters as a general category, and then the
Yeah.
other category, Vanguards, being your kind of much more contemporary, cutting edge
Yeah.
artwork.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually like the photos a lot on your website because the commercial ones, I think there's like a restaurant or
Oh, like a butcher's.
yeah,
place.
butchers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then standing beside the art, the actual art that was picked.
Yeah, and that art piece is over there actually.
It
Yeah.
when you look at the whole picture of the person standing beside the art,
Yeah.
it just goes together.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, like I mean, because those are all, yeah, all the people that we shot for that.
Yeah.
That was literally people who chose that art. So you kind of see like the personality of people
exactly,
a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before we leave the interview, how do people find you again?
Oh, okay. Well, you can find us online. It's www.partial.gallery. And that's it. There's nothing. People were always like, "Oh, is there like a
Dot gallery."
Yeah, I'm like, no, it's just one of these like new school URLs. Yeah, so it's www.partial.gallery or on Instagram at partial.gallery.